All right, so today we're going to be simplifying radicals. Again, yesterday we simplified square roots. Today we're going to be simplifying cube roots. On your assignment, though, there will be a mix of cube roots and square roots, so just make sure you're paying attention to that. So the difference between simplifying a square root and a cube root is not a ton, but we do need to keep in mind that a cube root, so let's just do a separate example over here. A cube root means I'm looking for a number that when I multiply it by itself 3 times, I get the number underneath. So the cube root of 8 is equal to 2 because 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, right? So we're going to be breaking it down the same way we did yesterday with a little factor tree. The difference is that we're going to be looking for 3 copies in order to bring one out instead of 2. So let's go ahead and just get started on this. We're going to break down this 40. Now on your assignments and quizzes and tests on this, I do need to see your factor tree. So make sure you're showing me your work. So 40 is 2 times 20. 20 is 2 times 10. 10 is 2 times 5. Again, it doesn't matter which order I do this in. I could have started with 10 times 4 or something like that. It doesn't matter as long as they all multiply. When I get down to the prime numbers, you'll get the same ones, no matter which order you did that in. Now, because this is a cube root, I'm looking for 3 the same instead of 2 this time. So for these 3 2's right here, I can bring 1 out front of my cube root. So make sure when you write the answer, if the cube root is still there, that you do put a 3 there. And then the 5 needs to stay underneath because there's not 3 of them. So 2 times the cube root of 5. All right, let's try another one. Again, if you want to pause and practice and see how you do, that might be a good idea. Again, a cube root, so I'm looking for 3 copies. 162, if I know it's even, so I could do 2 times 81. 81 is 9 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. So again, I'm looking for 3 numbers that match. So I have 3 3's here. So for those 3 inside, that means 1 outside. Then I still have a 3 and a 2 that can't come out. They have to stay under the cube root because there's not enough of them. So 3 times the cube root of 6 would be the simplified version of this. All right, so now let's try one that has a couple of different things. It has a negative as well as a variable. So the negative basically just tells me that my answer is going to be negative out front. So whatever number comes out front, it's going to be negative. Under a square root, if I have a negative, like if I have the square root of negative 4, remember that's imaginary, so that would be 2i. But if I have a cube root with a negative underneath, that is not going to be imaginary, but because I can multiply negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 to get negative 8. So there is a number that when I multiply it by itself 3 times I get negative 8, and that's negative 2. So that would just equal negative 2. So because there's a negative under here, that just means there were an odd number of negatives being multiplied together. And because it's a cube root, simplified form says put your negative out front. My answer is just going to be negative, and the negative will go on the front in front of numbers that come out. It won't stay underneath the radical. Okay. So basically, if you see that negative there, pull 1 out front, put it on the result, your end answer, but don't worry about it as you're breaking down the number. So 128 is 4 times 32. 4 is 2 times 2. 32 is 8 times 4. So we have a couple more 2's here, and 8 is 2 and 4. So we've just got a bunch of 2's here. I'm looking for copies of 3. So for every 3 2's, I can bring 1 out front. So for these 3, I can bring another 1. And then that 2 there would stay underneath. Now notice I pulled that negative first, right? And I just know my answer is going to be negative. I don't want to do like a negative 2 here and a negative 2 here because that would be an even number of negatives, which means this 128 wouldn't have been negative. So just don't worry about it as you're breaking the number down, but just pull it out front to begin with, and then you won't forget about it, and break it down as we did before. So now I'm going to look at n. N to the 8th means n multiplied together 8 times, right? So that's a lot to write out, but I'm going to do it just for a visual here. So we've got 8 n's. Every time I have 3 n's the same, I can pull one out. So that's going to be an n out front. This is a second n that can come out. If I times n on the outside, I'm going to get n squared. And then I still have 2 that are left over inside that can't come out. And n times n again is n squared. So this would be negative 4n squared. Whoops, I forgot my cube. Times the cube root of 2n squared. And there's my simplified form. Okay? So we'll just do one last example. And again, if you want to pause and try it on your own first, that might be a good idea. I can see right away the x squared is going to stay on the inside because I would have to have 3 of them in order to even bring 1 out. 16 is 2 times 8, and 8 is 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So I have 2, 2, 2. I have 3 2's there. That one will come out. That one's alone, so it's going to have to stay in. Make sure my answer is also showing that as a cube root. And there you have it. All right, just let me know if you have any questions. You can email me, and have a great day.